Parks, obviously in the second half, the offense struggled to move the ball, really complete drives with touchdowns. Do you all think you all were too conservative on some drives, or what do you think happened to where you just weren't able to punch it in for that touchdown?
Yeah, when you struggle, when you go through struggles, and when you don't win, obviously you evaluate everything, what you could have done differently. Looking back at it, I think that there were the appropriate amount of chances taken. Wish we would have converted on some of them, but obviously we have to finish drives, and that's the most important thing, and have to find a way to win the game, and we didn't do that. So, everything, it gets evaluated. And but I do think that the biggest issue for us right now is just not executing. It comes down to a lot of different things, but that's what we really got to focus on.
Nate Atkins.
Hey, Parks, I'm just curious what the challenge is like when you prepare a game plan around a sensational player like Jonathan Taylor. He goes down the very first drive. And what's the balance for you between sticking to the things that you guys have prepared for that game versus, trying to make some adjustment to the fact that, Jonathan Taylor's kind of, a unique player?
Yeah, Nate. Obviously JT, sensational talent. We know what he brings to our team, what he does for us. And when a guy like that goes down, obviously it has to change your thinking a little bit. And, he definitely brings a dynamic to our team that, that not many people have those traits. But at the same time, it's next man up. And that's always the mentality for us here and then in football in general. And then we believe that. And so we have our, our DNA of what we do. And so you stick to that. You stick to the things that are true, but also you obviously, think personnel all the time. And that has to be a part of your thinking as well.
Joel Erickson.
How do you look at Dion and Zach and how you guys are going to use them going forward?
Yeah, I think they have unique traits. Obviously, Zach, has a strong downhill running ability. Thought he showed that the other night. I thought he did some really good things. Really was happy with the way he played. And then obviously Dion has stepped in for us a couple times this year and done a great job. So I think that, you look at their talents, what they do well. How do you emphasize those? And those guys will obviously play a big role with, potentially JT being down.
Yeah, both.
Hey, Parks. We got two. Kind of expanding on James's question from earlier. Where is that balance in like milk clock and then step on an opponent's throat? Like, how do you walk that line when you're the play caller?
I think that it's, game by game. It's feel. It's how's the game going. Ultimately, you trust your players. You trust your guys to make the plays. And, I think that it's situation of the game, the defense, all those things play into it, right? But I think that I don't think that there's necessarily one solid answer for you. I think that, like you said, it is a line that you walk, and you take your chances on when you want to be a little bit more aggressive, and then you take your chances on when, hey, let's milk some clock right here. Obviously, even in times when you milk clock, it's not that you're conceding to a punt. You're still trying to get first downs. And so that's never you're never saying, hey, we're just going to run through plays and punt here. You're trying to gain first downs no matter how you do it. But obviously, just being smart with how you do that, with still, pushing the ball down the field in places, taking your chances, taking your shots. And like you said, to step on an opponent's throat per se. And when you say, I want to, we'll run some clock here, run the ball. And that's obviously, that's kind of what you go through week by week, but I don't think it's necessarily just a definitive answer. I think it's something you want to mix up. You want to keep the defense off balance. You don't want to be predictable in that aspect either. So good question.
And then as you guys get ready to prep for the Chargers, are you game planning as if Matt Ryan will be the quarterback?
Yeah, I mean, that's the plan. That's the plan moving forward until I get told otherwise. That I'm game planning for Matt to be the guy.
Stephen Holder.
Hey, Parks.
Hey.
I know that, or I should say, I asked Matt about this last week, and I'm curious about your thoughts. The turnovers became such a big emphasis early in the season, right? Because he had the fumbles and the interceptions. I think it seems like it gotten a little bit under control, but I also asked him like the balance between, trying to stay aggressive, but also, trying to worry about keeping those turnovers down. And, he has 5.5, I think, yards per attempt the other day. And, some of the games, it's not been high enough. How difficult is that balance to walk? that sort of, you know, walking and chewing gum?
Yeah. Good question, Stephen. I mean, it's a fine line because you have to be aggressive. You have to create explosive plays. You have to push the ball down the field. We know how important that is to winning, how important that is to scoring points. But obviously, all year we've seen how turnovers just kill you, and how what the turnover ratio does to your win-loss as well. So I think that it is a fine line. Now, I think that, obviously when you're play calling, you try to help with that. There's different ways you can push the ball down the field where you can be safe with the ball, as well. And that's a fine line. And that's a balance that you look for. But that's obviously the thing that you're trying to do is find a way to create explosives while also protecting the football so that you can keep that turnover ratio down. That's what we're trying to do.
The last one here, Mike Chapp.
Parks, after last year with the season that JT had, this season obviously hasn't gone like anyone anticipated. How have you seen him hold up? And it's just got to be kind of very frustrating to know that the season for him probably is over.
Yeah, it's frustrating for him, obviously to have the season that he's had, but really frustrating for all of us, right? I think we've all been disappointed in a lot of ways of how the season's gone. But for him, I mean, he's so strong. He doesn't show it. I mean, he's a true professional. Every single day shows up to work, smile on his face, works hard, doesn't waver from his confidence in himself and his teammates. And so I can speak to that on him. Like, he hasn't one day wavered from the JT of last year in terms of what he brings to the table and how he goes about his business, which that's a true testament to him as a player, as a person, as a football player. But obviously we all look at, how the season's gone, and not as we anticipated is very frustrating. And, but at the end of the day, we got 3 weeks left as a team to try to turn that around. That's what we're going to try to do. And then for JT, he's just going to continue to be the pro that he is, continue to be there for, for his teammates, and, take it day by day.